You know those overnight success stories when people say they went from broke to bougie? I'm calling BS on it, and let me tell you why. I'm somebody who was in almost 6 figures of debt and am now a multi-millionaire, and that is not what happened at all. So if you're somebody who you are just in that poverty mindset, the lack mentality, and you want to be able to break the cycle and transform your finances, then watch this video because I'm going to tell you exactly what I did to really go from broke to bougie. The first thing I did is I actually hired a coach. So I would recommend hiring a coach or going through a course because it's going to give you the tools that you need to be able to look back and identify the limiting beliefs that have been holding you back since you were a kid, those forms of self-sabotage that you can't sometimes see when you're in it, right? We're just really repeating the same behaviors as the day before and the day before. So in order to have that true lasting change, it is helpful to have an outside perspective, especially to navigate as you start changing who you are, which I'm going to cover in a second. Or go through a course and working with somebody who does money mindset, manifestation, a lot of the stuff that we teach inside of our programs. People want to learn the mechanics of marketing and sales, and we actually really focus on mindset first. So whoever you are learning from, make sure that they have the lifestyle that you want. You know, working with coaches that are debt-free, that have net worths of at least $1 million, that say that they're millionaires online. Those are really important attributes because if you want somebody to help you, they need to have gone through it already and have come out on the other side to guide you. So just to compress time and fast track, I hired a coach, even didn't really have the resources for it because I was in so much debt, but I knew I needed somebody else's perspective to help me break free. So that was the first thing that I did. I actually have a free course called The Wealth Code. We did this a few months ago, so I'll just give that to you guys for watching this. So look below the video and you can go through that. There's a workbook. I think it's gonna really help you a lot. The second thing that I did is I actually reframed my limiting beliefs and identified those thoughts that weren't serving me anymore and was starting to work on a new identity. So when it comes down to, for me, it was alcohol abuse and, decade-long battle with that. I was just repeating that detrimental cycle. It was coming down to the fact that my self-identity was wrapped in that. So I saw myself as worthless, as somebody who wasn't a good mother, was not successful in business because I had struggled for 6 years at that point. And so I started building a new identity. And in order to do that, I had to reframe my beliefs that were running on autopilot. And this was a lot of work. So every single day I would journal and write out new thoughts about myself. I would acknowledge and notice the thoughts that were coming up that weren't serving me, and I would reframe them and learn how to do it in the moment. And I also started implementing tools such as meditation, guided visualizations, and tapping. So if you don't know what tapping is, I actually recommend checking out Brad Yates's channel. Is my favorite tapping channel. He has helped me so much. And that was my go-to resource in the afternoon. You know how the second half of the day your resolve isn't as high as it is the first part of the day. So tapping was my go-to, especially I was in a really toxic environment at work. So I would just find a quiet space for 5 minutes and be able to shift my energy immediately. Can't say enough good things about that. So you want to start doing that. Again, that Wealth Code workbook will help you with that. But you want to start identifying those limiting beliefs, because if you watch this training and you're like pumped up, or maybe listen to my podcast or read a motivational book and you're all excited, that's great. But what the change actually happens in the day-to-day. And it's those repeated thoughts that you have that are either helping you get towards your goal or pushing you away and helping you make those changes or holding you back. So it is that important to start thinking about what your thoughts are every day. What you say to yourself is more important than what I think about you or anybody else. It really does come down to your beliefs each and every day. The next step is really important, and this is going to be an ongoing strategy, but I actually created a new vision for myself. As I mentioned before, my self-image was not amazing when I started doing this work. And so I started thinking to myself, what do I want my life to look like? What do I want our bank account to look like? What do I want our finances to look like? And starting to talk about that with my husband. What did that mean for our budgeting and our money that's going out? And for me, I knew I could increase our wealth by me starting a business and being able to replace my income at my corporate job to a point where we could break free from that paycheck to paycheck mentality. So I started thinking about what we could do with that money when we became debt-free, being able to cash flow vacations, maybe get a second home, move into a different neighborhood. So what happens when you start thinking about what you do want, you get more of that. So with the law of attraction, in my favorite quote in the whole world by Earl Nightingale, we get what we think about most of the time. And that's the strangest secret, is if we start thinking about what we do want, because most people spend the majority of their time thinking about what they don't want. I mean, think about today, what you've thought of already. Probably we're complaining about the news and the weather and where's my money, right? Like that's just human nature. So I started thinking about what I did want, started having that conversation, painting the vision. And now my husband knows if I say something that's not even created, it's not even real, he knows that we're going to manifest it. He's a really strong manifester. He's super strong. So when the two of us get around something, I mean, we can have stuff happen within a week. It's wild. But before, we were just in that cycle of focusing, you know, noticing what wasn't working. And especially I was the biggest kind of energy around that because I was in such a dark place before I started doing this work. So I'm going to give you another tip, but I just want you to know, like from one person to another that's gone through this, I'm somebody who really struggled, and I'm coming up on 7 years of celebrating sobriety. Our net worth is multi-millions. And my first full year as an entrepreneur, and that was my first full year after doing all the work I just shared with you, I did $250,000, but at the end of the year, I didn't have any money. I was broke because of that lack mentality of the repeated patterns of spending. I just wasn't even comfortable with the money because I grew up in poverty. Like I didn't know how to have money. I don't know if you can relate to that. So then I hired another coach that specifically focused on money mindset. And the work I did with her is where the wealth codes stem from. So grab that, like I said. And that next year I did $1.1 million, but kept almost $400,000. So that's a really healthy profitability for a company that scaled up really quickly and obviously had staff and all the things, or overhead and all the things that come with that, and learning how to have that, you know, healthy profit and loss. But I kept the money, you know what I mean? We were able to go and get that second home and eventually flip it into an investment property. We did move up into a nicer neighborhood. I was able to, you know, be able to invest in my company and hire the people that I love. And it's a dream to work with, but that wouldn't have happened if I wouldn't have done all the work I just shared with you. So my final tip to help you to go from broke to bougie, to be able to be your own success story, is to know I struggled for 6 years in my business. I didn't make hardly any money. And I had so much guilt around that. Like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I do this? I felt like I was putting my family at risk, right? I'm sure you can relate to that. But I knew in my heart that there was more for me. And I'm so glad I didn't give up. Because if I didn't give up, I wouldn't be here right now sharing this with you. If I had given up, I wouldn't have changed our family tree. Who knows if I'd overcome those addictions? And all the people, at this point, we've worked with 10,000 students in our programs. I wouldn't have been able to help those people and, you know, pass this on to the next family. So it's that important that you don't give up on your dreams. So just know it's going to take time. As long as you keep going until you are successful and make that decision, you will become successful. And you just have to be 100% focused on that, okay? So I have so many great resources around mindset for you, so definitely check out our playlist and obviously plug into our programs as well. If you do want to get started with us, I do recommend stepping into our membership program called The Vault. It's a minimal investment. You will see me a couple of times a month, and you'll unlock 75 courses, and I'll curate your experience for you so you don't get in going, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start. I'll actually customize your school plan, and we'll help you get off to a strong start, okay? So if this was helpful, subscribe. My name is Kimberly Olson, also known as the Gold Digger Girl. Hit the button subscribe, take a screenshot, throw it in your stories, and tag me at the Gold Digger Girl. I would love to give you a shout out for doing that. And check out our other videos. We have lots of strategies here to help you with sales, marketing, just monetizing your brand on social media. Thanks for watching. Until next time, get lit in your business and set your soul on fire. We'll see you soon.